Elizabeth was a beloved celebrity admired by many. She was considered a dream woman by countless men. Though she was over 51, Elizabeth had taken great care of herself and still looked stunning. She also had loyal fans who followed her every move, including her fitness program, which attracted many viewers. One day, after filming an episode of her show, she had to use the men's restroom because the women's was under maintenance. While inside, she overheard her boss talking about replacing her. The words hit her hard, forcing her to confront her age. Soon after, her acting career came to an abrupt end. Her boss didn't even bother to break the news respectfully. While eating in a downstairs restaurant, he casually told her to accept the reality of aging. Then he got up and left when a friend arrived. Although he didn't explicitly say it, Elizabeth knew she had been fired. Distracted and upset, she had a car accident on her way home. Although the crash was severe, she survived. When she gathered herself, she realized someone had slipped something into her belongings, a USB drive. At that moment, an old classmate spotted her and approached with excitement. Before leaving, the classmate gave her contact information. Elizabeth dismissed the encounter as unimportant. Later, when she got home, she checked the USB drive. It was an advertisement for a product called Perfect Substance. The ad claimed it could create a flawless, younger version of yourself. Elizabeth found it ridiculous and threw the drive into the trash. That night, she went to her usual bar, hoping to forget her troubles. She sat in the center, expecting attention, but no one noticed her. After 2 strong drinks, she still couldn't shake the painful reality. She didn't want to fade into obscurity. She wanted to shine in the spotlight again. With nothing to lose, she decided to try the number from the USB drive. When she called, the person on the other end simply gave her an address and hung up. The next morning, she received a room key in the mail and rushed to the address. It led her to a rundown building with a half-broken roll-up door. However, once inside, the place transformed into something entirely different. Elizabeth found a locker with her name on it. Inside was a small bottle labeled as an activation serum. The instructions were simple. Inject the green serum and a new version of her body would split off. However, both bodies would share one soul, requiring them to switch every 7 days. The product promised to erase the effects of aging and give her a perfect life. Elizabeth injected the serum into her body, determined to see the transformation. At first, nothing happened. Seconds passed and she let out a frustrated breath. But suddenly, a wave of dizziness hit her, making her freeze. She collapsed to the floor as sharp, unbearable pain coursed through her. It lasted 2.5 minutes, draining her completely until she lay motionless. As she regained consciousness, she saw something unbelievable, her own lifeless body on the floor. Shocked, she stumbled to a mirror. The reflection staring back at her was a younger version of herself, flawless and full of life, just like she had been in her youth. This new body filled her with the confidence she thought she had lost forever. Despite her fear, Elizabeth forced herself to follow the instructions. She stitched up her original body and injected it with a nutrient solution to keep it functional for 7 days. The original body would then secrete a substance to sustain the younger version. Though the process was bizarre, Elizabeth quickly embraced it. Who wouldn't want a perfect, youthful body? The next morning, she resumed her yoga routine and noticed a job advertisement from her former company. Fueled by ambition, she decided to reclaim her lost position. The following day, she went to the interview. With her perfect posture and glowing confidence, she impressed everyone. The boss, seeing her youthful appearance, found her familiar yet irresistible. Introducing herself as Sue, she easily landed the position and replaced her old self as the aerobics instructor. Within days, Sue's face was on posters all over the city, and the fitness program's ratings skyrocketed. But time wasn't on her side. 7 days passed quickly, and Sue felt her body deteriorating as the serum wore off. She returned to her original body, waking up in pain from the transformation. The wound on her back was excruciating, but seeing the vibrant Sue on screen made her suffering feel worthwhile. Elizabeth returned to the company to collect her things, officially severing ties with her old life. She stayed home, avoiding public appearances until the next batch of the serum arrived. Eagerly, she began the transformation again. Once more, she became the dazzling Sue, with her newfound youth and confidence. This time, Sue's popularity soared even higher. She caught the attention of a wealthy and handsome man, and the two quickly fell for each other. However, as they enjoyed a passionate night together, the 7-day limit arrived. Desperate not to ruin the moment, Sue overdrew the nutrient from her original body. The next morning, Elizabeth woke up in the bathroom, exhausted. The chaos in the living room told the story of their wild night. As she picked up a note the man had left, she noticed one of her fingers looked aged and corroded. Alarmed, she contacted the company for help. Unfortunately, the damage was irreversible. They reminded her that failing to switch bodies every 7 days would result in complete death. Filled with regret, Elizabeth tried to accept her reality. But watching Sue's fitness program on TV triggered deep jealousy. Even though Sue was her, she couldn't stand feeling overshadowed by her younger self. When the next serum arrived, Elizabeth hesitated but couldn't resist. She retrieved the vial, feeling anxious and paranoid about being discovered. On her way back downstairs, she ran into the wealthy man, who had returned to get his car. He seemed upset, hurt by Sue's recent distance. The encounter bruised Elizabeth's pride as she realized she couldn't sustain the perfect illusion forever. Back home, she dug out an old classmate's contact information, determined to prove her charm and relevance. When she called, her classmate was surprised to hear from her. Excited about reconnecting, Elizabeth's old classmate enthusiastically accepted her invitation. Elizabeth was equally thrilled and decided to make the evening special. She spent the entire afternoon picking an outfit and applying flawless makeup. But as she glanced at Sue's youthful face in the mirror, her confidence crumbled. Feeling inadequate, she kept adjusting her look, but the more makeup she applied, the worse she felt. Frustrated, she wiped off her lipstick and grew increasingly upset at her reflection. Overcome with self-doubt, Elizabeth canceled her plans, leaving her classmate waiting. Consumed by despair, Elizabeth abandoned the strict diet and self-control she had maintained for years. She told herself that she would wait to reappear as Sue instead. One day, while Sue was filming her fitness program, she noticed a strange lump growing on her lower back. Alarmed, she tried to focus on the show, but the cameraman seemed to notice something odd and stopped the recording to review the footage. Panic-stricken, Sue rushed to the bathroom to inspect herself. Gently pressing the lump, she felt something solid beneath the skin. She pushed harder, and the lump moved unnaturally. Just as her fear peaked, she woke up. It was only a dream. However, her greasy fingers and disheveled appearance hinted at the toll her reckless behavior was taking. Despite knowing Sue was just another version of herself, Elizabeth felt increasingly disconnected from her own identity. The next day, Sue returned to the studio, only to find her show had been abruptly canceled. Anxiously, she sought an explanation. Instead, the boss delivered surprising news. He wanted her to host the upcoming New Year's Eve gala. It was the ultimate recognition of her newfound success, marking the pinnacle of her career. But such a high-profile event meant grueling rehearsals, and Sue realized 7 days wouldn't be enough. She made the dangerous decision to overdraw her body's reserves, extracting 4 additional days' worth of nutrients from the original body. When Elizabeth woke up again, she was horrified. Her body had deteriorated to the point of near death, her legs frail and wasted. Meanwhile, Sue was thriving, basking in her career's success and enjoying her boyfriend's love. The contrast fueled Elizabeth's jealousy and despair. When 7 days finally passed, Sue returned to her body, only to find her apartment in chaos, with debris strewn everywhere. Furious, Sue collected all the containers and extracted every drop of nutrient solution she could. This time, she took enough to sustain her for 3 months, determined to shine at the New Year's Eve gala. Late one night, while she and her boyfriend were enjoying an intimate moment, Sue suddenly felt the familiar urge to inject the maintenance solution. As she extracted it from the original body, only half a vial of black liquid came out. The reserves were completely depleted. Panicking, she called the company for help, but their response was grim. She could only switch back to the original body, which would regenerate the solution naturally after 7 days. Sue resisted but had no choice. She crawled to the bathroom to make the switch, her desperate actions alarming her boyfriend, who followed her. Elizabeth woke up in her decayed body, slamming the door shut before her boyfriend could see her. She screamed at him to leave. In the bathroom mirror, Elizabeth saw a horrifying sight. Her reflection was no longer entirely human. Terrified and overwhelmed, she called the company, begging to terminate the process entirely. The next day, Elizabeth received a termination agent. Desperate, she injected Sue with the solution, but as she hesitated halfway through, she realized her current state was unbearable. Stopping the process meant she could at least have 7 more days as Sue. Yet no matter how much she tried to switch back, Sue's body had gone completely silent. It was as if the soul they shared between two bodies had fractured, leaving them both staring in shock at what they had become. When Sue noticed the syringe nearby, a realization dawned on her. Without hesitation, she lunged at Elizabeth, who was too weak to defend herself. A scuffle broke out, and Sue quickly overpowered her. Helpless and beaten, Elizabeth could only watch as Sue regained control. Despite the chaos, Sue quickly composed herself, knowing she had more pressing matters. She rushed to the venue for the annual gala. Once there, she got ready and applied makeup, but a sudden wave of discomfort hit her. She went to the bathroom and was horrified to find her teeth falling out. Sue remembered the company's warning. If the original body dies, the split body will soon deteriorate and vanish. Desperate, she thought of the remaining half vial of nutrient solution back at home. Clinging to a bold and dangerous idea, she raced back. Thankfully, Sue made it in time and injected the solution without hesitation. The effects were immediate and horrifying. Within 2.5 minutes, Sue's body began splitting apart again. The original body birthed yet another version of herself. But this time, the split body was a grotesque, monstrous figure, far from the flawless image Sue had once been. The transformation left her unrecognizable, a chilling reminder of her obsession with youth and beauty.